Hello, hello, hello. All right, so the time is 4 p.m. We'll go ahead and get this webinar started today. We appreciate all those that are spending your time today to learn about the NRX, and we're very, very excited today to make you aware of our new firmware update, the 1.413, which we will cover today, and we'll also show live the updates with that firmware. So I'm hoping that's why everybody jumped on today, was to see what's new with Speco and what's new with the new NRX. So today we're going to start, again, my name is Daniel Sahowski. For those that haven't been on these webinars, we've been hosting these for a few years now. Today's webinar is going to be the power of the NRX recorder and what it can do for you and your company. Obviously, we start off with some website stuff. We're going to do a little bit of PowerPoint stuff as far as just showing what the new release updates are. But as always, once the webinar is done, you'll get sent to you via email a copy of the webinar and then any of the documentation that we use today. So anything that you do see, just no need to take notes, pay attention, and then we'll send you all the documentation afterwards as a follow-up. And if you need more training or if you have more questions after the webinar, just be sure to reach out to one of your reps. If you don't have a rep, drop your email address in the chat box, or if you have any questions today, just to kind of clean up some housekeeping stuff. If you have any questions during the webinar, hit that chat box there, type your question in, and then we will answer them as we go, or we'll get to it at the end. All right, so everybody should see my screen at this point in time. You should see the landing page for specotech.com. I did just a simple search for the NRX, so that way we can show you kind of what pulls up. We can talk about what's here for your viewing pleasure. The first thing you're going to see here is we are announcing the 1.413 update for the 8 and 16 channel recorders. It is available for immediate release. It was released probably a week or two ago after quite extensive beta testing. We're going to cover this in extent today, and we're going to have a whole presentation based off this. But now we're going to keep moving on to the NRX models and what form factors they come in. The first one's going to be the N8 NRX. The second is the N16 NRX. So these are going to be your desktop, typical rack mountable versions here. Now, as you move down, you do have some more options to get the NRX into. You can get the wall-mounted version, which comes in our patented enclosure that can be wall-mounted. It can be branded for your company. It can be branded electrical panel. But what it does, it allows you to install this job like a typical alarm system. It allows you to hide wires behind the walls, pull them through the back, and then keep things more concealed if that's what your customer is wanting. Now, there are a couple different options of this here. We do have, mainly you're going to be looking at the ability to be able to add a monitor in there as well, because the industry is shifting. We're seeing a huge uptick in customers using mobile apps, customers using the web-based software, dealers not even putting monitors in. So this allows you to still be able to have an access panel or to be able to access that recorder if somebody's on site for the programming or if you need to go back outside and do any service after the fact. So it is going to come in two different models, the desktop version and then also the wall mount version. Both of them are going to have the same guts and sides. So as far as what makes it tick and what makes up the NRX, it's going to be the same exact thing. But if we look closely here, you're going to see quickly we'll cover your typical PoE ports. Single HDMI cable out does give you a spot out VGA that you can program what you want to be on that secondary. Multiple USB ports on the back and front, power on and off, power cable. Here's going to be your single NIC. As far as it's a dual NIC, but you're going to be looking at your single WAN NIC. And then all of your PoE ports by default are going to be issuing out a default IP address unless we change that. One of the things we will cover today during the training is how do we change that, right? Also, you should be pretty familiar that there are alarm ins, alarm outputs on the back of the NRX. This allows us to kind of play nice if we're using any type of contacts, if we're using type of motions, if we want to trigger Based off of AI events, we can have the recorder trigger outputs or or cameras on the system. So again, if we're trying to integrate with alarm outputs and inputs, we can do that through the back of the recorder. Uh, you know, Overall, what's important about the NRX recorder as well too is there's a huge uptick in video verification. As far as especially moving out west to out coming east, it's now we have to have video verification as far as an event happening. With this, we also have a complete integration with our NRX platform. We also have an integration rolling out here with our Bold platform as well too. So you're going to find if you're in the video verification business or if you're not in that business looking to get into it, Speco has a great introductory offering to be able to roll you out into that platform almost seamlessly. Now, as always, compatible apps is going to be SecureGuard. You shouldn't be using SecureGuard. This is more for our technicians. If our technicians are going to be scanning the QR code to get them into the dashboard, your customers and you should be using the Speco Blue app with the NRX series recorders. This is going to give you the full feature. Quick question. Can everybody hear me okay? Somebody type in the chat box. Okay. Sorry, my computer was saying I was muted this whole time, and I thought that I'd been talking for the past 7 minutes without talking. I appreciate that. I'm glad you guys didn't lose me. All right. So again, the NRX is built for the introduction into video verification, whether that's with MX, Bold, Checked. We have integrations into all the platforms. So it's important that if you're looking down that route, make sure you ask our sales reps. We can help you move in that direction. So now, with further ado, let's bump over here. And with everybody should have been familiar with the NRX platform. 1.412 was the previous version. It offered us the full AI suite. It offered us face detection, facial recognition, people and vehicle detection with line crossing intrusion, regional entry, regional leave, loitering, our whole full suite of intelligent analytics. What you'll notice with the previous versions of our firmware was there was attributes and metadata that was in beta version. So with the 1.413 comes, it's basically the full release of our metadata platform as well as our meta search. So those are two things that you're going to hear me cover today. And we're going to talk a little bit about what cameras does it take to get this done. Obviously, it is enabled with the NRX recorder running the 1.413. Currently today is not 1.413 is not in release with the N32, N64, and 128. It is on the roadmap to be released shortly, but we're still waiting on that. So keep in mind what you're shown today is only going to be compatible with the N8 and N16 NRX running any of our metadata capable cameras. Now you will get a full list of metadata capable cameras, and I'm also going to show you one today after this webinar. But again, let's go ahead and get started into the 1.413. So some things you're going to see today, we're going to cover this quickly, and then we're going to jump into the actual recorder, and I'm going to kind of go back and forth. But I want everybody to get the full rundown. New updated web interface, we'll cover this. New search functions, which is the meta search that we talked about. This is available during live, playback, and intelligent analytics. Better recording, playback, search efficiency, and you'll see this when we actually perform some of the meta searches. Enhanced incorporated from customer feedback. So these are things that, like the IP speaker, when navigating this, it would be easier to do this. So we've enhanced some things that make it from basically just your customer feedback, right? It shows that we're listening. One of the big ones too, and this was a customer feedback thing, but it was just so big, we put it in here, USB keyboard support. This is probably one of my most requests from last year was, it'd be nice to be able to plug in a keyboard and start typing in programming. Now you can do that. Web interface optimization. So we redesigned the web interface. It's important that when you see this, everything is the same wording as 1.412. Things have just shifted around a little bit. All your same accounts, all your same main setting icons are still here, as you'll see live here. We've just made it a little bit smoother as you're going through and navigating, which gives you, again, direct access to settings without extra menu navigating. So you'll notice now when we go to settings, the menu drops up here and we can go to any one of these options without always having to click back to settings. And what that did was allowed you to do it with fewer clicks and improved visibility. Another thing that we saw from customer feedback was when we're bringing cameras in, it would only bring them in based off of the order that I brought them in. So if I brought in cameras 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they were going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Camera 6 was 6, 7 to 7. So now we give you the ability to be able to change the channel. Where, if I'm bringing in this camera, where do I want it to go on the channel count, which is the outputting resolution, the output feed, right? So now we don't have to go back and start changing ports in the back of the recorder based off of their positioning to get them in a in the order the customer wants. We made it a little bit simpler as far as recording. You should be familiar that when it came to the Easy Wizard setup, you had the ability, it was continuous record, AI event, AI record, sensor record, motion record. So now it's just really two options here. You're going to have an all event record, and then you're going to have intelligent record here, right? So it's just doing motion and AI, or it's doing all events. So what we've done is just made it a little bit easier. So you're either going to be recording in just motion and AI, or you're going to be recording in our traditional scheduled sensor, AI, or motion. So pre-alarm and playback improvement. So previously, it was just 5 and 10 seconds for the pre and post alarm. Now we give you the ability to where on every camera you can disable pre-alarm recording, right? Which means that it's going to start just when the event starts, or we can make it where it goes down to 3 seconds, or up to 30 as a whole. And this really plays into for people that are doing video verification, or if you're getting notifications. I don't want to watch what happened 10 seconds or 5 seconds. I want to see exactly what happened, or I'll know and wait 3 seconds. But this gives each dealer the flexibility of tailoring it to what they want to see. So coming into playback improvements, now we can do event playback color coded by type. So originally when you watch the type of record, we would have to go filter between AI and motion. Now our recording and playback is just going to show you motion. I'm sorry, it's going to show you continuous, and or it's going to show you people and vehicles. And as we get in a little bit deeper, you have the ability now to be able to play filtered recordings. So previously, if I was watching a camera, and as you'll see live, if I've got recordings all day, but I had events that happen every 20 or 30 seconds or minutes, I would have to actually watch the entire thing. And it would, if I fast forward it, nothing would jump me and skip the scheduled or the continuous recording or the motion. Now we have the ability to say, just play the filtered recordings, which is going to skip from event to event to event. If you're familiar with our VMS platform, this is a feature of it. Now it's going to cut down your playback review time. So one of the, honestly, the biggest releases in my opinion is the intelligent analytics optimization. It is now face, people, and attributes. It's grouped together, right? So instead of seeing people, vehicles, non-motor vehicles in combination, now it's just broken down into people, vehicles. If you're on people, you can see face, people, and attributes, where vehicles is going to be vehicles, non-motor vehicles, and plates, right? So simpler forms. And as you'll see, now we can start adding our metadata search into attributes, right? We can start getting statistics and say, okay, based off of all the people you saw today, using metadata, I can start using statistics as far as where was my traffic periods. This isn't really going to be used by too many of you. What you're going to be using the most is the meta search, and it's AI powered video search engine for faster and more accurate results. To sum it up, basically what we're doing is we're taking our previous people and vehicle detection using either line crossing, intrusion, regional entry, or regional leaf. And we're now starting to say, okay, if we have the metadata analytic turned on, I'm going to start getting not only those people and vehicles, but I'm going to start getting attributes also. And you'll see here in a minute, there's about 12 different attributes for people and 3 different attributes for motor vehicles. And by those attributes, we're able to start searching across other cameras that were running metadata. So how is this happening? On the NRX, the programming side of it that you'll see shortly is going to be actually under intelligent configuration. It is the picture comparison portion, right? This is what we have to enable to be able to utilize the metadata to get meta search. When we do this, it does utilize 50% of the recorder's AI resources, right? So we can still do all the camera AI. It's just if we start doing things like facial recognition, which uses 16% per camera, it's the only time, or if we're trying to use on-vid cameras and use AI on them, which uses 50% of the 100%. So out of the box, as long as you're not doing anything special, we're having a bunch of facial recognition cameras on there, that using that 50% of your resources isn't going to affect your overall project. So now one of the things too is that we have the ability to be able to save and end license plate duration, right? So, and we're going to basically save and end the duration, right? So it doesn't do me any good to save license plates for 60, 90 days, 120 days. If I'm really trying to keep a 30-day kind of refresher database of saying, okay, show me all the plates for the past 30 days. Now you have the capabilities, and I've actually intentionally done this on, you'll see here in a minute when I do a people search. When you get a tremendous amount, the recorder is just like its internal database has an internal storage, and just like a hard drive, once it reaches the max, it's going to start overriding it with new detections. So this allows us to kind of tailor our detection period. And then as you're going to see, we now have the ability to be able to do enhanced filters. So when we're doing event searches, we can base that based off of motion, perimeter detection, whether it's face detection or tampering on an exemption behavior. One of my favorite things is the IP speaker device control. So now on the system, we have the capabilities, and you're going to find that IP speakers are going to become the standard with either our NRX or any kind of network video recorder in the market. We have the capability on an 8-channel NRX to actually attach 9 IP speakers to it on top of the 8 channels, right? So that 8-channel box now turns into a 17-channel device. And as you'll see here in a minute, when I put those IP speakers on that system, I can add them. I can add custom messages. And then once we're doing the AI triggering, we can trigger any of the IP speakers or a group of IP speakers to play a message or 4 different messages, depending on how many I'm selecting. So it's kind of opening up a whole new sales platform and what our biggest goal is now is to be able to make this easy and flexible to where you think about an alarm system, right? Alarm goes off, the siren goes off too, right? So now we have the capability of saying if the camera system detects somebody based off this time, great, the siren's going off, right? But instead of a siren, we now have an audible message or something that you or a monitoring station can talk down to. And with powering that with like a 30-watt bullhorn speaker, we have the ability to be able to talk across the whole property instead of using like a 1.5-watt speaker that's built into one of our cameras. System operational. So again, this is going to tie more to if you're using our system and the mobile app, we have the ability to basically be able to turn on and off any group of outputs, any digital deterrents. So I could basically use the app as an alarm system where I can program a bunch of digital deterrents. I can tell the recorder that whenever I disarm the system on my app, it's going to turn off all my digital deterrents or other features or functions. And then so we have the ability to have that direct alarm interaction with the recorder that has the ability to be able to either trigger outputs based off it being arming, disabling digital deterrents. But now we're going to give you a little bit more flexibility with which we can schedule a close and disarm to where automatically that system is going to activate or deactivate based off the time schedule applied to it. So everybody will get a copy of this slideshow as well too. It'll come to you via email. And again, if anybody has any questions as far as what you saw just now, then feel free to put them in the chat box. And before I forget, so we talk about what cameras before I jump into the recorder. You're going to see here that this is some of our flagship cameras, our top selling cameras, probably what 90% of you are already selling. These are the cameras that are currently metadata capable. So if this is something, again, that you are wanting to offer, once you see this, you'll get a list of these cameras as well too, but we're going to make sure that we're using this camera. One of these cameras running the newest firmware with the NRX running the newest firmware. So I'm going to use the dashboard here everybody should be familiar with the dashboard, right? If you haven't been on one of my webinars or training with the dashboard is our dealer dashboard that allows us to be able to monitor all of our accounts, change the configurations, be able to add users, be able to edit the AI, monitor whether it's online, monitor the healthcare of the hard drives, monitor the healthcare of the cameras themselves. More importantly, it allows us direct access by hitting this connect button, which utilizes our peer-to-peer service, right? So I'm going to go ahead and refresh this. It's been a few minutes since I logged in. So this is going to be one of the live demo sites that's running our metadata. And I think I have everything pretty well programmed. It's been running for probably a week or two now to be able to just really get this training going. Then I also have another site that I'm going to use my dashboard real quick, get logged back in. So if you're a service guy, this is what I'm doing here. Getting into the site is exactly how you would run your workflow into if somebody called in, had an issue with the site. That's how long it took me to get into this customer site here. But you're going to see that we have a couple different applications here, and then we're going to talk about, what's the use case for these applications. Um, and then we're going to cover, what we saw in that PowerPoint as far as what's new with the platform. So the first thing you should notice is the layout looks a little bit different. Now you have black instead of a dark blue. When I hit the settings icon, this is the change in the user interface. Now everything resides over here to where now I can hit what I want, select screens without having to go back and forth between settings. Now, obviously, this is running 1.413, and this does have all this does have all metadata cameras enabled. So the very first thing we're going to look at was going to settings, AI and event, intelligent configuration, because I told you that to enable meta search in a recorder, we have to have pick search turned on. All right, so we're going to give it a second to load up. I'm not sure of their network connection, so while I'm doing that, I'm just going to come over here and do the same thing. Yep, it definitely was not me. So you're going to notice here that when I'm at this point here, I'm going to hit, this is enabled. When I enable that, it supports pick search of detected targets, right? So it's showing me every camera that's on here and what capability it has based off that camera of what it can detect, right? So again, let's go to the live view here, and we're going to talk about kind of some application points. Like, so this customer actually been robbed a few times in 1 week for the diesel pumps. The people came inside, kind of scoped out the place, they came back and hit the diesel pumps. So what we ended up doing was, the main goal was to be able to give him perimeter security over mainly the diesel pumps back here to where whoever's operating over here can talk to people. But also we wanted the ability to be able to do LPRs at the entrance, which you're going to see this is an LPR, this is an LPR here. But we're also using the meta search, right? To be able to say, once somebody comes in, how do we make it easier on this customer to be able to search when an event happens and then be able to export that video, right? You're also going to notice that we do people counting here. So today they've had 1,409 people come through the door. So we're providing some data points for the customer as well. Now, once we turned on, let's go back to AI event. Once we turned on this intelligent analytic, and I'm going to kind of bounce around here. Let me get logged back into that one while we're going. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come here to AI and event, okay? And AI and event, you're going to notice that there is this video metadata analytic here. So first off, you're going to notice it says it's still in beta. Obviously, there's still some testing being done, but it's pretty impressive as we go through here. We're going to enable this feature, and under parameter settings, like any of our AI, we're going to box off the area that we want to do the meta search in. You'll notice some cameras, I've got the whole screen. Now I'm going to hit this display all areas because you're going to see here that I do have blocked areas, and I've selected one and I've drawn the blocked areas. So the reason why I'm doing this is because I want this camera and the metadata to really focus on people in line and not just normal traffic moving around the facility. So this way, when I'm doing searches, it's going to be everybody that was at the register. That's why I boxed off things that weren't that important, right? Now you're also going to notice that on a camera like this, let's see here. Let's display all areas. I want everybody to see that I've blocked off. So my main focus is starting to get metadata on everybody as they come in. So you're going to see them. The goal is to get them as they come in the door, because just like any other analytic, there is ranges on the target detection. From here to the end of this line is about 47 feet. Um, I'm always going to get things like target detection back here, but the metadata, what I'm finding, within 30, 40 feet, it does make a difference, because I'll get the more info in range they are, and I've isolated. I'm not looking way back here for people. I'm not going to get a lot of attributes here to where I'm going to get all 12 attributes, right? So again, I'm just kind of playing with it. I'm saying, all right, if I originally didn't do blocked areas and it's detecting people over here, then what I'm going to do is select one of those blocked areas, right? And or not that weren't existing at the time, and I can start coming over and saying, okay, you are not going to be searching for any metadata that's happening in this quadrant, but here it is. And you'll notice, just like somebody walks out, I've got them in the positioning I want. Now, I'm not concerned here, because you'll notice that there are other cameras kind of creating pinch points with the metadata. So you can come in here and do a schedule, or you do a custom schedule. Now, target size, this is telling us, you'll notice I haven't changed anything. The way that you really dial this thing in, if you're finding some false alarms or some false detections happening, or you're not getting the detections you want, I can come in here and say, okay, people, it's by default, it's or there have to be bigger than this dot, smaller than this dot. So the more that we come in, and by default, you can really leave this. Um, but if you want to really start honing in and saying, well, I'm getting more detections than I want, so I can start saying, okay, a person should be smaller than or bigger than this box, right? Which is accurate. And they're going to be smaller than this. The more that I can get this kind of dialed in, oops, let's go down a little smaller. You're going to notice that somebody's going to be way smaller than that one. So I'm going to do 5 and oops, let's see here. Width's good. Let's go to 7. And it's kind of a guessing game unless you have somebody standing there. And let's do 15, right? So now let's do 18. I'm basically saying, what is the size of the average person that's walking in that zone? It's going to be pretty close to that. I'm going to go up a little bit more. There you go. So the more that I can kind of dial this in, and same thing with vehicles, you're going to notice that motor vehicles are getting the same. The more accurate, closer you get it, is going to be how we start getting other detections out, if you're getting them during your triggers. What are we looking for? People, motor vehicle, non-motor vehicles. Sensitivity levels, everything should be left by 50 by default. If we start getting things like dogs, cats, or we're not going to get cats, period, or mainly the dogs, but if we start getting animals or anything that we don't want, we're going to treat the AI bot just like a person. If I raise your sensitivity, you're going to be affected by more. If I lower your sensitivity, you're going to be affected by less, right? So the AI bot works the same way. If that neighbor says, okay, I want to start seeing dogs, I want to start seeing the neighbor's cat through my yard, or vice versa, if they say, hey, I'm getting the dogs detected, then we know we're going to lower the sensitivity. Once we apply that, you're going to see over here in advanced mode, you do have the ability to be able to save the snapshots to an SD card. You also have the ability to where you'll notice here that this is actually, and I'm going to show you on one of the screens here, if I have this enabled, I can say daily, right? It's going to start showing me how many people in vehicle, right? Or I'm going to have it reset daily. I'm going to exit. I'll show you what this looks like on another camera in a minute, but it's going to start detecting how many people did I see, or how many people have I detected, and how many people or vehicles have I detected on this camera during the day. And that's telling it when do we want it to reset. Over here on image overlay, so here's all the attributes we're looking for: gender, age, direction, hat, glasses, backpack, long, short sleeves, upper clothing color, long, short trousers, lower color clothing color, skirt, dress, mask, right? So you're going to find that even if somebody's wearing a hoodie, and it's a male and it pulls a female, it's okay, because it's using all these attributes to be able to create an algorithm, and it's basing what it thinks people are. That's on a percentage, as you'll see. So it's going to miss a couple here and there, and just keep in mind, age has 3 ranges. It has youth. I'm sorry, it has 4: child, youth, adult, which is I think 30 to or I'm sorry, 25 to 50 in the age range. So there's big age ranges, right? But it's more focusing on the colors and the different types of attributes that I can get along with gender, age, and direction. So once we have turned on the intelligent configuration, we've turned on the AI event. So now these cameras, each one I go through, you'll notice that I've already went through this, turned on the metadata. And again, you'll see entry point. We saw 1,409 people. That's again because it is detecting only people, and I have it set to be able to enable and then reset data. So what does this metadata do for us, right? So typically in intelligent analytics, which is one of the new updates, we saw people, motor vehicles, um, people, vehicle, non-motor vehicle in combination. So now we have people. You have the option to search for faces, people, or attributes. I'm not doing any type of facial detection here. So if we search, you're going to see no data. Now, if we go to people, so if we come here on a site where we are doing facial detection, if we go to people, face, and search, you'll notice it starts pulling up all of the faces, right? Now, this is one of the new features you're going to see when I'm selecting it. Now I have the target picture over here. I can upload this target picture. I can go full screen, or I can do a meta search based off of this. Before we do that, I'm going to come here to record, and you're going to notice now that it starts showing me, here's the time, the 7-second video, right? I can drop this down and say, okay, show me 30 seconds now. It's going to be whatever the event is, plus the pre-record and post-record to make it a 30-second video, right? Now I can export this at any point in time based off of the video that I've selected here in the range. I can listen to the audio if I have the mic turned on. So let's go back to picture here. Now with the meta search, it gives you the ability to hit the meta. I see a target here, which is her. And then I see a face here too, right? So this is our facial detection camera. It is running facial detection and recognition. So now I can search for that face just like I typically could, right? This is just like we could do already with facial detection and recognition. What I wanted to mainly show you was the new look of the platform here and how that plays out. I see 3 different tags of her face. I can select all 3, backup all, or export individually, right? So let me jump back over here. That was the face portion. Now we're going to select people again. So we're back to the gas station here, the Marathon. Now you're going to see that obviously these cameras that we programmed and programmed earlier, now we're starting to get detections on all those metadata cameras, right? And you're going to notice that the more that I come through, the meta searches are going to have all of these individual attributes attached to them, right? And then just the target detection, line crossing. And again, we're talking about range. You're going to notice that this was line crossing. I got this by line crossing, not on the metadata, right? So to see metadata, it has to have these attributes here. Now, a good thing to do is if for this customer here, and I say, okay, let's back to people, I'm going to search for certain cameras, right? So we're going to say today, we're going to say register overview because as I told you, I really set it up. Oh, what happened? Oh, this is a demo site, so if somebody has changed it, I can change it back. All right, so we're not going to use the register camera. We'll just use all the cameras. All right, so this is what I told you earlier that when you have tremendous amounts of detections, like you have the ability to be able to run line crossing intrusion at 5 seconds, 3 seconds, there is a internal storage built that is basically telling me now that, okay, if you've reached the maximum, which I've reached 2,000, okay, which is the tags for a day before, it's just re-overriding itself. I'm not losing any recording, I'm not losing, I'm just literally losing, and this is a good instance here, if I'm telling you, this is the male, it is grabbing as a youth, no mask, hat, right? But when I do a meta search on targets, I'm going to select this target here. I'm going to say 75% is my threshold, searching for today. Here's all the cameras I'm searching for. So now you're going to notice that it is going through all, not just the cameras from the bud bar that we were looking at, but now it's coming through all the other cameras here and giving me a percentage of what that individual will. And you'll notice it's nailing him every single time. So what's unique about this is that you'll notice that if I had an image of somebody where I didn't have their pants or what they're wearing, Now I can come to one of the other ones, right, and then start performing. So if he would have went back and took his hoodie off, took his hat off, or changed, it was a larger establishment, I can still follow this individual. And if you want this off of your screen, this is done in the recorder by selecting that on-screen display right after you turned on metadata. But you can see I can now take this picture of this individual and do the same search, right? So now we're able to really start saying, okay, even if you took your shirt off, even if you took your pants off, you changed your hat, as long as we were still nailing some of those attributes, you can see that now we're with a 90% threshold. And the unique thing is that it's going to 22 pages. Let's just see if I can get to the last page. All right. So you're going to see here that now 75% was the lowest. But what's really unique to this here is that I'm not necessarily that threshold percentage was how I can start seeing different. So we'll go back to people here. Let me find somebody that was not in here a ton. All right. So we'll grab this individual here. All right, we'll do another meta search. And keep in mind what I'm showing you here is only available via the web browser into the NRX. You can search for attributes at the recorder level, but it's not going to give you the meta search, right? So 75% was my threshold, and I have 19 pages of this individual here today. She's obviously an employee. Now I can come and start lowering the threshold, and you're going to notice now I have 30, right? So there's always a point to where, let's just go to the last page, and you'll notice I'm still on her. But if I keep lowering this down, there's going to be a certain point to where now there's 41 pages when it's going to be somebody else in a black shirt wearing jeans that has similar attributes. Let's see if we can. There you go, right? So this is obviously, now she could be still in this image. Let's see if she's still here. No, this is obviously not this person, but we've reached a certain point, like it's a 51%, right? Like a crapshoot. So now there's certain things that are matching, whether it's the pants, if you went in through here and looked, no long sleeves. So that it's giving us, I don't know, 40 pages of this individual throughout the establishment. Now you think about how much time would it take for us to come in and search like that if we were looking for here, it would be a tremendous amount of time. So again, now we can come through in attributes as well. If we're just searching for certain cameras, I can search for attributes, whether I want to see, okay, let's see if anybody has on a white shirt today. So now you're going to start seeing again, we can start utilizing the attributes that was in beta back with the NRX. I'm sorry, the NRE. Previously, now it's in full release, which gives you the ability using the meta cameras to use those attributes as well too. So we could just say, all right, show me somebody wearing a white shirt, white or black shirt and hat, right? So again, we're just guessing here that somebody might be. Obviously, we know he is. So 81 options of people wearing hats, black shirts. And again, what this is really meant for is just being able to streamline how you're searching, right? And be able to streamline how you're exporting. Now, under playback, I want to quickly show, you'll notice now on the new release here, we have normal playback, event playback. So if I do normal bud bar, it's going to show me the dates here. Here's what I see. I see my people and vehicle, right? Here's all my AI during that time. So if we were to take a camera, let's take one that doesn't have so much traffic. Let's go into office camera here and use that one. Okay, you'll see here, like we don't have a whole lot of traffic, right? But every time we're selecting one of these AI events, it's either going to be people, right, for this light colored or the dark for ordinary record, which is just a post record. So now again, you can turn the audio on. What's also nice about this is that I can start, let's say I'm starting here, whatever my day started at, right? This event right here. If I use this play strategy over here, so if I play filtered recordings only, now what's going to happen is it's going to play through this event, and I could fast forward it to go a little faster if I wanted. But now you're going to see once this event is done, it's going to jump to the next event. Now we have the pre-record, the record, and then the post-record involved there. But it's going to start as soon as this recording is done, which we got another. Let's fast forward a little bit more. You'll notice, boom, it jumped to the next event, right? So it's the ability to be able to not sit here and watch each individual one and made it through. It's about being able to just see what's important as far as the AI goes. You can select event playback here and come over here and hit these three little dots and actually you can go more in depth, like just show me face detection, just show me facial recognition or any of the AI, or just show me motion. You can switch the grouping as well too here to where it's general event. So which one is your main priority as far as what you see? So this is a quick overview of with the one, no, we're not done yet. I'm sorry. I actually lied to y'all. We haven't even covered vehicles yet. We're so close. All right, so let's go back to, let's make sure that we are at the gas station here. So under vehicles now, you'll notice vehicle, motor vehicle, non-motor vehicle, and plates. All right, so we had one question come in here. It's a good one. If a system is fully functional, will this upgrade change any of those settings? No, it will not. So if you're running an existing system and you run it in the if you were to upgrade out to 1.413, unless you enable the search engine and you enable metadata, this will not change anything, right? But your customer will see a new look, but they're not going to have the attribute search or be able to perform the meta search. Well, excuse me, my extended warranty probably expired. So again, with motor vehicles, the same thing. We're going to search for today, what cameras we're looking for, and then you're going to notice under attributes now, we're not going to do this yet. First, we're going to do search, which is going to give us a typical search of all the vehicles, right? I'm running vehicle detection at every pump, every station, so that way there's never a question of who's stealing them. You will notice that it is saying this is a white Ford car. So we are grabbing attributes of vehicles, right? There is a meta search here, but the meta search is not in release for vehicles. Meta search is only available with people detection and face detection currently. Now with vehicles, our attribute searches, which I can say, show me all the black trucks. You do have to select the box of which category you're working with. Let's hit OK. To show me all the black trucks. No, no black trucks. That wasn't cool. All right, let's look for this week. Oh no, let's see what I do here. Let's first just do an attribute search here. Let's do a search. All right. Tell me no black trucks. All right, so now we're going to go. I see white cars. So let's do a white vehicle. All right, again, so where the attribute search is with the vehicle detection is the ability to be able to come over here and select. And again, I was crap shooting what was in there for when the recording time was. But again, it's the ability to be able to search for color, brand, and type. Okay. Now, brand, I'll be very transparent. Unless you have kind of a good, so this is a white Jeep SUV. Let's see if we can white pickup truck. It's not gonna, if it's white BMW SUV. If it doesn't know what it is or isn't in the database, it's not white pickup truck, that's a Chevy, but you're going to notice it just doesn't attach that attribute to it, right? So again, it's going to show us all the white vehicles that were on camera. You'll see here, this is dark time as well too. And so we could go back to picture. We could say, okay, let's try something else. Let's see. Let's just take a guess and say, show me pickup trucks. Right, so now we're going to see, regardless of the color, what pickup trucks were there. This is where the attributes is right now with vehicles, the ability to be able to filter through all of the detections of vehicles and just search for what you're looking for. Now, obviously, we have plate detection over here too. If we were looking for a certain plate, we could hit the search button and it would show us any searches for the plates that had that number queued in it. If we did not see a number, let this load up. That's a big number with one, right? We could just hit this search. We could just get rid of this and say, show me all the vehicles are all the plates you saw, right? What you're going to notice here is unique is that the '04 BXL1M doesn't just give, like Tennessee is a single state side, a single plate side, which means we only have plates on the rear, not on the front. So it's still showing me the detections, even though, so that way I don't lose any vehicle detections. It could not get a plate here. And you're going to notice that. So two vehicles coming in at the same time, grab this plate here. Could not get a plate on this vehicle, but it still gave me the vehicle and the information of it. So I'm not missing anything, right? And you're going to notice that all the vehicles that come through here, whatever it can grab, it's grabbing either the vehicle or a plate attached to it. And I have the same features here where I can come back into record, see the recording, export that video, listen to the audio. But what's really nice is just how nice it is, or if this is the one I want, I simply hit it, select the box I want, and hit export, right? So we've made it much easier when you're watching video. How do we quickly export without having to jump back and forth, without having to go to another screen? And it's on every option you have, whether you see the picture, the record, your thumbnails here. All right, so let's see if we have some more questions here. If the system is fully functional, see how accurate is the metadata detection with the 4 megapixel cameras? So that's kind of what I was saying earlier is that, all these are 4 megapixel. Let's see here. They're combination of 4 and 8. Yeah, 4 megapixel, they're all half 4, half 8 megapixels. It's not really so much the resolution that matters. Your 2 megapixel, 4 megapixel, 8 megapixels is going to give you the same target detection. What it really comes into is you'll notice like this is an interior environment here. Um, all my targets are within 15, 20 feet, 5 feet, right? So I can tell you the closer the better. Now, when it comes to like longer ranges, that's whenever I'm going to start doing things like if you notice when I pulled this gas pump overview camera up here, where I had just the entryway blocked off, and then I had uh, let's see here. Here we go. You'll notice that I had the entryway that I was doing metadata, and then I had everything blocked off. So, and again, I find that the best range is to try to keep your targets within 30 feet. And that's just what I find, right? Your height and your angles are going to change everything. If you follow our best install practices, which are available on the website, keeping those targets within. So you think if it's a 3-to-1 range, right? If I have my camera 10 feet up, my target needs to be within 30 feet. If I have my camera 6 feet up, it needs to be within 18 feet. So I like to keep a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio to basically say that, okay, when I'm doing this, this is a good standard to go by where I don't have to change any settings. If I start not getting the detections I want, or I'm getting more detections, that's when I'm going to come in here and start dialing in, okay, how big is a person in this scene, right? Or roughly, or how big is a motor vehicle, right? So I'm gonna start dialing in the AI a little bit more if I need to, right? 9 times out of 10, you shouldn't have to. Let's see here. Who is training a customer on all these features and how to adjust? Also, is there a button to press to reset to factory settings when the customer messes everything up? So Lego Man, you raised a very good point. And luckily you got me today because part of my job is doing our onboarding and trainings with new dealers. And part of the industry problem is that what we recommend and what some of our largest and smallest dealers are doing out there is that you should be maintaining the admin rights to that recorder. If I were to quickly give you the workflow of what any of our clients are doing, they're selling Speco products. They're using the dashboard to connect those recorders to for their own maintenance and service. And then they're turning around and charging the customer monthly based off of, are we monitoring your cameras if they go offline? Are we going to notify you? Are you monitoring your hard drives? Are you monitoring your recorder? Each of these things you're charging for, which is building your RMR basis, right? Just like alarm systems. So once I have this device on the dashboard and I'm monitoring all this and I've locked out the customer, then it's up to my salespeople to come in and say, okay, let me give you a good example. 1 second here. So what I'm pulling up here is because you raise a good point, right? Like, how do I go in and ask the right questions? 1 second. it is. No, that's not it. All right, so basically what I have, and I'll see if I can pull it up as I'm talking here, but I have a basically one-page questionnaire that you could ask. Yep, it's right here. All right. So again, I have a full version of this that's been through marketing, and but anyway, so like what we kind of like what we came up with was our project information. We're going to give our typical information about the project, system overview, how many cameras, how many remote users. The whole goal of this is for as a salesperson to be able to give this information back to the installer or my team to say, here's what we're doing out here. Monitor recorder cameras, yes or no. This means is it going to the dashboard, right? If yes, are we monitoring the recorder, the cameras, the hard drives? Which one? Are we using AI analytics? Yes or no? Are we using people, vehicle, LPR, facial detection, or metadata? Okay, which cameras are we using this on? Are we using digital turrets? All right, we're going to enable digital turret on this camera, yes or no? Are we going to enable the push notifications? This also gives you the chance to talk to the customer about scheduling. Is there certain times that you want these activated or deactivated, right? And then we ask what kind of remote viewing platform. Are we leading you to the Speco Blue app, the connect.specotech.cloud, which is how you access all of our recorders from anywhere in the world? Or are we using the local IP address? Or are we using Speco Blue VMS, right? And we want the salesperson to draw a little sketch of the system. But what I'm getting at is that, and I'll send out the finished version of this with the documents as well. But the first part of it is that you should be getting with your sales rep, right? And having your sales rep do a training and saying, okay, how do we as a dealer leverage this firmware on our platform? They're going to help you come up with a plan, just like I'm doing today. They're going to say, okay, with what you've seen, what do you want to sell? Is it metadata? Okay, are you going to charge the customer for metadata, right? First, we're going to train your technicians on how to install it. Then we're going to train your salespeople on how to sell it, right? Then it's about the salespeople going out and selling it. The unique thing, especially about the dashboard, if I was programming anything, I can't really mess it up. If I enable metadata, it's going to give me everything and everything. Like it's not like it's either going to work or it's not. It's really going to be how dial in is it at the range if you're at a non-normal range. So it's really just about enabling two boxes and then your customer having that feature. So I recommend if this is something you want it introduced into your platform, I will highly recommend it. It's included. There's no extra charges. There's no extra cost. Schedule a call with your sales rep and let's go over a sales training with, okay, how do we implement into our platform? And there's really nothing the customer can mess up once I set the AI in the recorder, like what I was showing you earlier when I programmed the AI and I maintain admin rights, then all they have the capability of doing is using the search features and not changing any settings, which is kind of why we standardize on locking all the users out of the recorder. Good question, though. Does anybody have any more questions for us today? Give me some feedback. Is this something you like? Is this something you're excited to see? Is this something you can sell? Is it junk? Before I let everybody go today, just give me a comment. And then as always, we appreciate your time today. If you have any other questions or you want to stay on and ask anything outside of the group, I'll stay on for the next 5 or 10 minutes. Everybody expect a follow-up on the documentations that I promised you and the deliverables. We look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week.